I think looks pretty cool. Yeah. From there, we can explore sketch to image. So this is sort of where we can actually, rather than trying to just mask and hope that the model understands what we're looking for when we prompt for it, we can actually help it along a bit more. We can actually go and draw directly onto the image to try and steer it, far more so in the direction that we want it to go. So we're giving it essentially color and form, and using that to drive the generation. And so the way that the sketch tool works essentially is we draw onto the image, and if you have the automatic masking toggle on, what that's actually doing is it's automatically masking that region. And there's like a buffer zone around where you've drawn that gets masked. And then essentially the idea is that, that gives it some leeway to modify or to sort of Inpaint based on that reference underlying color and form. And I think here I wasn't too happy with that dark green color that I put underneath. It can be helpful sometimes to give it a bit of color variation, to give it a little bit more sort of effectively noise to riff on. So I think I'll run this again, and hopefully I think that what we got out of it looked pretty decent.
And choosing the right color and context with the
generators. And so what I did for that is if you pick the pen tool, there's actually an eyedropper, so you can go and eyedrop on the little blob guy and get the color, and you can draw the arm. And yeah, so we've got his little, it kind of looks a bit claymation-y, arm going on, and we're like, okay, cool, let's give him a weird little dude mouth. Again, same idea. We draw on mouth. I think I picked one of the pinky colors that was from one of the mushrooms. And again, it's that, as I said, it's sort of automatically masking around what we've drawn, and we just prompt for what we want, and it's going to be focused on that region. And cool, nice. We get a cool little mouth on the dude, and so you can sort of see how it's super powerful in terms of being able to start with, I guess, a single a scene generation, and then add and build on top of that, and really steer it in the direction that you want to go. So I think it's super fun. Yeah, and awesome. I think I just a little bit more of the sketch stuff, just sort of showing if we want to add something else. I think here we're sort of just drawing a red flower. Same idea applies, and I'm just adding a bit of color variation to give the model a bit of opportunity to come up with something a bit varied, because I think if you do a big solid block of color, it can sometimes struggle. It might give you something that doesn't have a great amount of detail. So it can help to kind of just throw a few colors in the mix when you're trying to add something new like that. And
do you find that if you use like a more flat color, but then increase the render density, can you still get some detail out of it? Or
no, it's more that I think that if you use a solid block of color, that you don't really see it doesn't have enough like shadow kind of detail, because there's not enough variance in the underlying color. So although when you go and inpaint it, it adds noise, I think it just doesn't, there's not enough there for it. There's not enough meat for it to kind of come up with detail, essentially is the problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So
I've actually, I've got a comment here from the YouTube chat. It's not really a question, it's more something that'd be interesting to find out from you, JJ. Daniel Lee says JJ has that drive-in Aston Martin riz. Is that accurate?
I don't drive an Aston Martin. What's riz like vibe, or like?
So I think Dave can answer that one. He seems to have a bit of it.
I don't know. Is it the fro? Is it?
So according to Google, riz is a slang term for skill in charming and seducing a potential romantic partner, especially through verbal communication. I'll take that as a compliment. Yeah, cool. Okay, so where are we going from here? So I think. Right, so this is just sort of, I think I just wanted to explain again how the masking works. And basically, if you have automatic masking on, again, the way it works is you draw on the scene, and essentially you can like it essentially has like a default level to which it's expanding the mask on top of what you've drawn. If you click override defaults, you can actually change how that mask works. How much it actually expands from what you've drawn onto the scene. So it can give you some flexibility depending on what you're trying to do. You can also adjust how much the model pays attention to what you've drawn to by adjusting the input strength. So both those are available by turning on override defaults. So yeah, super powerful sketch to image, that feature. Yeah, and I think it's something that we'll be iterating on for a long time to come, but love to see what you guys can do with it. And I think having some of these sorts of explanations around how it works are probably really important for people to get the most out of it, because it is kind of complicated to get your head around the best way to utilize it. We're trying to think of ways to make it simpler, but I think right now it's the simplest we could come up with to date. So hopefully this is sort of disambiguated it for some people. I think here I'm just going to sort of show, if we want to draw a mushroom hat on the Explorer, we can do that as well. And yeah, so super fun.
Could just keep going for hours there.
Yeah, you can get lost. Like it just, I think I moved something around there. Yeah, it's a rabbit hole, right?
Mm.
Yeah. But I mean, that's like, Gen AI in general, right? Like spend hours just generating cool content too. So
Yeah,
right in the canvas.
That's how we got into this, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, just way too many hours. Like just remember using Disco Diffusion and waiting 25 minutes for render, and I'm like, yes, look at it. It looks awesome. Like,
yeah.
It's always a surprise, isn't it?
Yeah. I was like, did it work? Now you get to wait 10, 20 seconds. How good's that? So I think one other thing to talk about. A lot of people have already used this, but for anyone who hasn't, outpainting. So this is kind of how the unzooming feature works on the platform as well. If you want to use outpainting, we actually have a toggle there called outpaint. You're best turning that on. If you don't turn it on, it'll still work, but it might be a little bit unreliable. So here, one thing that I do sometimes is prompt a stunning image just to outpaint. It doesn't always work very well. I think in this example, it didn't. So sometimes you're better off, prompting more about what you actually are trying to extend. I think I write something like an incredible alien forest, and we go around extending the image in all directions. So yeah, we actually have a pretty cool unzoom update coming sometime in the next next week or two, which actually allow you to set set the unzoom amount and sort of visualize what that will do with your original image. And so that'll actually be not on the canvas itself, but mediated through like the AI generation section and also in the feed. And after that, I think we're going to update that further from there to sort of allow for actual reframing of images really easily, so you can actually start with your image, place it wherever you want, and sort of scale it accordingly. So I think that's a cool little feature that's coming. Yeah, and as you can see, we can extend the image in any direction and just keep going, and create a pretty cool little alien landscape. Yeah.
Yeah, it's never ending, is it? You can create a whole world.
Yeah, I really like that guy. Like that kind of looks like a little with glowing eyes. Like it's pretty cool. I really like this 3D animation style model. It's super.
It's really satisfying.
Yeah.